Hi Year 9, welcome to Remote Learning. This is just a short video explaining your notes and questions for Wednesday's lesson. So our heading today is working backwards. Another heading that we could have used is the unitary method, which makes what we're doing sound a little bit more complicated than it is. So I've gone with the heading working backwards. But if you see any mentions of the unitary method, it's just the process that we're going to be using today. So I've got some notes here that you're going to write into your book. You can pause the video whenever you need to write them down, or you can get the PDF from your class notebook. So these say, sometimes we are given a percentage of an amount, but we want to know the whole amount. So this is why we're working backwards. We're starting with a percentage and we want to know what the whole amount was. Whereas what we did last lesson was we started with the whole amount and we worked out what a percentage of it was. So we're going to look through an example. So this example says John got 85% in his maths test. He knows that he answered exactly 17 questions right. How many questions were in the test? So we know that 17 questions got 85%, and we want to know what the test is out of. So I'm going to show you two ways to work this out. The first way is the long way. So when we're using the long way, we write down our percentage on the left, and 85% equals 17 questions. Then we're going to work out a smaller percentage that we can turn into 100%. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work out what 5% is. Then I'll be able to work out what 100% is. And when we want to know the whole amount, we want to know 100%. So to turn 85 into 5, if you know your 5 times tables really well, you'll know that 5 goes into 85 17 times. So we divide by 17 to work out what 5% is. And when we take 17 divided by 17, that gives us 1. So one question on the test was worth 5%. Then, to turn 5% into 100%, we're actually multiplying by 20. Because if we turn 5 into 50, that's timesing by 10. So 5 into 100 is timesing by 20. And we'll do the same on the other side. So one question times 20 gives us 20 questions. So that means there were 20 questions in the test. And because it was a word problem, I'll write that down in a sentence at the end. There were 20 questions in the test. Now, that's the long way. I'm also going to show you the shortcut. And if you prefer to use the shortcut, you can use the shortcut for every question from now on. But make sure you write the long way in your notes so that you have it there if you want to refer back to it. Now, the shortcut is, we say there were 17 questions on the test, and that was 85%. So what we're going to do is just divide 17 by 85%. So that means what we type in our calculator is 17 divided by 85 out of 100. Or you might prefer to write it as 0.85. You might prefer to write it as a decimal. And when you type that into your calculator straight away tells you 20. So we see again that there were 20 questions on the test, but with much less working. So the shortcut is you take what the amount is and you divide it by what percentage it is. And we do that by writing it either as a fraction or as a decimal in our calculator. So we're going to have a look at some questions from our textbook now. If you forgot to take your textbook home with you from school, I've put the questions on the notes for you. And I'm going to go through the first couple with you as well. So we're doing exercise 2B, just questions 6 and 7. So question 6A, you'll see here, says we're working out the original amount if 10% of the amount is $12. So I'm going to show you just using the shortcut. So if what we have is $12, I'm just going to divide that by 10%. So what I'm writing in my calculator is 12 divided by 10% means 10 out of 100. And our calculator tells us that that is 120. Now the question had a dollar sign, so we put a dollar sign in front. I'll show you 6B. So 6B, same thing. 6% of the original amount is $42. So $42 divided by 6%. In my calculator, that's going to be 42 divided by 6 out of 100. And that gives us 700. Now again, this is dollars, so we'll put a dollar sign in our last line of working. So you should now be able to have a go at parts C, D, E, F, G, and H from that question. What I'll do now is I'll go on and show you an example from question 7, but if you want to pause here and have a go at question 6 before you look at question 7, you are welcome to do that. Now, question 7 is the exact same thing. 10% of X. Now, X just means some amount that we don't know. So 10% of the original amount is $54. So $54 divided by that percentage, divided by 10%, means that in our calculator we do 54 divided by 10 out of 100, and that will give us 540. And again, this whole question is talking about money, so we put a dollar sign in front of our last answer. So you guys can now go back and have a go at 6 and 7, finishing off the rest of the questions. Make sure that you show your working just like I have, and let me know if you have any questions.